My name is Bigfoot, and welcome to the Orkney Islands. It has been a while since I've uploaded any Transport Fever content, but in the lead up to Transport Fever 2, I want to give one last let's play on this series. I want to explore a really difficult and challenging map, and I want to go and bring it back to 1900. We're starting off this series quite different from any other. A few notes on this: we are going to be playing in hard mode with no initial mods. We're starting vanilla because I really want to get back to the game's raw basics, and I'm sure I'll start like that in Transport Fever 2 as well. I started off like that in this game, and it's really just to get to know the game. I do know this game off by heart, but I just want to explore the core of this game before we move on to a new game when Transport Fever 2 comes out. I will add mods throughout, and there is actually already 2 mods in, No Initial Roads and also Industry Tycoon, which I'll come on to shortly. The towns are not connected. We're in an island archipelago, and throughout the series I'm going to be telling a story. You're going to see maps coming up very frequently in this series, and there's lots of different islands. There's a big mainland island, but then there's also lots of smaller separate islands in with the Orkney Islands Archipelago. None of these towns are connected, and it means that with my small budget of 3.5 million on hard mode, I'm going to have to try and connect these all up, which is going to be a logistical challenge. As this is a water-based map, the backbone isn't going to be trains, which for once, pretty much all my maps, and really Transport Fever does really evolve around trains. There will be trains, don't get me wrong, but it is mainly going to be boats. There will be a few planes, there will be some trams, and there will be some buses, especially as we start out in the early stages at 1900. Things are going to change as we go on, but it is going to be a different dynamic to how we play this series out. One of the big challenges I am setting myself is that bridges are only allowed where they exist in real life, so again we will be referring to the map. The mainland itself is well connected, it's connected to 1 or 2 other islands, but outside of that lots of smaller islands are cut off. You have to get boats between them, and that is really where we are going to find our boats really making us a lot of money, and that's going to become our backbone. And then this time we are also going to be doing some industry. However, we're only doing certain kinds of industry because I feel if there's too much industry in too many towns, then it can get a bit too much. So I've decided to only focus on 3 industry types, which are grain and foods, crude oil to fuel, and then planks to logs. I have removed the others using Industry Tycoon. I do not plan to edit any more industry at all, but it's really going to be quite weird how all this ties in because it's going to have to, a lot of this travel on boats because a lot of the industry is on the smaller islands, which I'm really excited to explore. As you can see, we are flying around the map in the background, and you can probably get an idea for it. It's quite a flat map, but there's lots of scattered islands. There is one big island. As you can see on screen, we have all of the towns that are actually on this map. It is very spread out. Kirkwall is the capital, and then Stromness is also another large town in Orkney, but Orkney Islands, they only have a population of about 22,000. It is a very remote place. What is going to happen is the mainland in the middle, which has Kirkwall on it, that is actually connected up to Bury and then St Margaret's, Hope and Cleet. But outside of that, everything else is separate, so there'll be no more bridges outside of that. What my plan for this series I believe to do is I'm going to work from outside in, so I'm going to start down at Lyoness, Rackwick and Longhope, along with maybe Cleet and St Margaret's Hope, or up at Rapness, Edy, Breswick or Kettletoft, and then I'm going to work into the mainland because I feel if we connect the outer islands first of all, then that means when we get to the mainlands, which is the biggest island, that's what the locals call it, then it means that the mainland will be able to grow much quicker, whereas if we do it the opposite way around, the mainland would just be so far ahead at all times that it wouldn't really be fair. How this series is going to work is that there is going to be some introduction in every single episode, then there'll probably be some sped up section which is a little bit boring, which I will commentate over, and then we'll do some live gameplay. That is the aim, so it gives you a real good mixture, but that means I also can get a lot done. This is a big map, and I really want to get this done before Transport Fever 2 comes out. on this date of recording, which is the 6th of October, there's still no date for the game yet, so it's really hard to tell, and I have a feeling it might be delayed. I do also want to go ahead and make this series a feedback-led series though, and I've sort of done this in quite a few of my other series. Because we're using vanilla, it is a bit different right now, and I will expand into mods later on, but I'll cover that in future episodes. But I still do want people's inputs and ideas, especially when it comes to different routes and how we connect up all of the islands. Episodes of this series are really going to vary when they come out. I do aim for maybe 2 to 3 episodes a week, however there's some weeks right now where I'm just really busy. I'm doing a lot of travelling, so it does mean that this series might start off slow and there might only be an episode a week. However, it is really going to be focusing on the quality. I really want to capture a story in with this series. To find out when the videos are released, there is the links to my Twitter and my Discord down below. I'm very active on both of those, and I've already been getting feedback for this series on my Discord. Then additionally as well, YouTube has implemented a new feature where you can send out a text broadcast to all your subscribers. I plan to start using that very soon. Future news on live streams as well will also be posted on this, and what I plan to do in the live streams is sort of really record the video before it's edited, do some of the little smaller stuff which I would have to do off camera anyway. I might as well do that and get more feedback, but I'll announce more about that in a few weeks' time. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this has been a good introduction to the series, and let's get into some live gameplay. Well, hello there ladies and gentlemen. So we start our live recording today in Kirkwall, and let's just fly around the islands a bit more before we really get into anything. So as you've seen the map, we'll use maps a lot because I really enjoy maps, which is a bit geeky, but especially for transport sort of things. I've got a really good tool which we'll use at the end of the episode to really show our progress. But we've got this map, and I want to explain one thing which I didn't explain in the map, is that the Orkney Islands Archipelago, it's really split up into 3 areas. I've referred to the mainland before, and that's this island here, so Stromness up to Brissy, Evie, I'm probably pronouncing a few of these names wrong, round into Kirkwall, Tankerness, Gritsley, St Mary's. I believe this is a water passage here, so Bury is an island, though it is connected to the mainland by a bridge, and due to the rules we've made at the start of the series, this can be connected, as is at St Margaret's Hope and Cleet. All of these islands have individual names, and I'm sure we'll learn them as we go throughout the series, but it's probably best we get to know the town names first. So then the southern Orkney Islands are basically the remaining islands. You could classify St Margaret's Hope and Bury, probably southern Orkney Islands. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I might use it for route numbering. And then up at the top here, so everything basically you can see on my screen now is part of the northern Orkney Islands. The mainland's in the middle, and you've got islands to the north and islands to the south. A few interesting things to point out as well is that you can probably see on the terrain these flat areas. This is where some old industry which we're not using was removed. Now we only have 3.5 million, and I was going to terraform it. I was like, okay, I'll import a mod to do that, but I've not right now, so we'll tidy that up eventually. And there is, generally the towns are quite well grouped together. They're not too far spread apart. There's 1 or 2 islands in the northern group which are singularly, and it's a real shame because these islands, which I think here we'll focus on today, they have towns on them, but they are so close but they can't actually have bridges just based on the rules, so that's going to be an interesting challenge. And also some islands have just, for example, this island here, it just has a bit of industry on it, so it's really unique and really cool, and I'm quite looking forward to starting the industry. And I'm actually happy as well that I've not got all the industry on, because I always feel it's just such a big task. What I want to focus on, as I said in the intro, is work out the way in. So I'm going to start out in the islands, I think in the northern lot today, and I think round about here, just because these towns are so close together. We do have a very tight budget, which I'm very aware of. We can take loans, we will take loans. We're also in 1900, so we're really limited, and I'm going to get the game started here on what we actually have available, and because it's vanilla, we have even less available to us, so that's going to be interesting. I do also want to think about some industry as well. There is an oil well, there's an oil refinery, that's easy money. for us, but at the same time, I don't really want to touch the mainland too much right now. What is any other easy? So there is some easy goods here actually. The oil well and then into the oil refinery. Again though, I don't know if I mean surely we must have something that can move that cargo. Yeah, okay, well we need to actually start placing some depots and see what we've got available, because I usually start my Let's Plays not in this time period. It's usually about 1950 I'll start them in. And then I also have usually an abundance of money, so that's not the challenge. So this is why this series is bonkers, and it's going to be a real challenge of my level of gameplay. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to start out with really small roads, because I don't think we're going to have anything going over 12 miles per hour for quite a while. What I want to do is try and make the roads nice and cheap for myself, so that is what I'm going to do. I want to try and save as much money as possible. Going to connect these two towns up because they're really close together, and I think it makes a lot of sense. I do think though that going forward we will come back and update a lot of these routes as better transport comes out. I think that'll be a wise decision to do. And then also we'll probably have eventually a mega highway between these two towns, though again it's a real shame. I'm expecting, for example, Weir here, I believe it's pronounced, this island will probably fill up as a whole town eventually, which will be really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing how this bay develops. So we've got these two towns connected. Let's go ahead and make ourselves a bus depot. A nice road randomly generated there for us. So if we jump into here, if I rotate this around, and let's see what we've got, because I'm really curious about what we've got. So we've not got a lot. In terms of cargo, we do have some stuff for cargo actually, which is good. That goes up to 16 miles per hour, and it can carry oil and crude oil and fuel, which is really exciting. Not that we're going to be using oil, it's going to go from crude oil into fuel. So we could definitely get that started quite quickly as well. That might be really worth doing, because I think that'll be a good money maker. But I think that starting off with some passengers on this island anyway as well would be quite a good shout. So if we're having a look here, this looks like our best vehicle. Capacity is the largest, we can go up to 12 miles per hour. The good thing is the vehicles aren't very expensive right now, but because everything's going to be going so slow, I'm going to need quite a few. There's also like no cars on the road. I mean, it is 1900s, but it is weird just everyone walking. There is a car there. Interesting. Ah, yeah, it's so old school as well, which is really nice. Where is your work? Out of curiosity. Okay, so your work's not too far away. Okay, right, anyway, let's go back and let's start to plan a very basic route, which will not take us too long at all. So we have... Let's try and be a bit economical about this. So we can have bus stops on one side of the road only there. Then let's have another bus stop at both sides there. And I'm expecting this place to grow, so I'll put another one there. I'm really not worried about traffic at all on this for the time being. Then if we come all the way into Surin, I believe it's pronounced. If we go for... Let's have a think, because I can't really bulldoze. If I wanted to build a road like that, that would cost me like 10% of my budget, which really isn't good. So let's go ahead and create a road from there to there. And then let's create another road from here to here. So that's not spent a lot of our budget, which is good. The problem with none of the towns being connected is that I needed to put that mod on to make sure there was no bridges going across the water. But now it means then that all of the towns, I need to build roads to each an individual town, which that's costly, especially on the tight budget I'm on. So let's go ahead and start off with the bus. Let's have a general bus stop there. Then if we have the bus coming through here, I realise I'm now building on both sides, which goes against what I totally said, but hey ho. Then let's have another bus stop down there, and that covers most of this town, which is good. So let's go ahead and create a route, and we'll think about what we're going to call it in a second. So that leaves town. It's going to take a long time for vehicles to really travel between these two towns, which kind of concerns me. How have we done this? We have done this entirely wrong, haven't we? I have done this wrong already, wonderful. Right, we'll go back and we'll just add in second bus stops, because it's probably the easiest thing to do. So add you in there, and then add you in there, and that sorted itself out. They cross over, so that makes sense. And that is the route pretty much built, which is good. So what we're going to call this is, we're just going to call this BU for bus. And then I'm going to call this by the town names, which this is... I do not know what this town is, which is a disaster. It's Barin Iron, I think, to Surin. Some interesting names in Orkney, to say the least. Orkney originally was, it's been part of Scotland for, I believe, about 500 years, population of about 22,000, but it's been very much invaded by Vikings, and I'm not at all sure too much of the rest of its history, but it's had quite a long and colourful history, to say the least. So let's go ahead and buy a few of these vehicles. I'm not expecting them to do good. Let's get 4 of them on the route right now, and let's just send them out. I'm not going to speed the game up, because I'll do that off camera now. We can do some time lapses. Again, try to just change up the format. It's really interesting to see these vehicles. They are interesting indeed. Is someone pedaling? It just about looks like they're pedaling. They're not quite. But yeah, so they'll go to work. We'll leave them be right now and hopefully see them start pick up some money. That route is obviously in the infrastructure, and these vehicles all are going to have a base cost, which I need to really quickly take that over because I can't be losing money consistently for long periods of time. I'm not too worried though because the vehicles aren't that expensive. Anyway, let's jump over here and let's go ahead and actually try and connect up some industry. Again, 2 villages I could connect up here quite easily, and we can also get some industry going quite quickly here as well. So let's stick with the very small road for now just because of the... Actually, now that's a good point. I remember seeing, and we might as well just build the depot right now to be honest. I remember seeing that some of the cargo vehicles can go a bit faster. So if we connect that up to there, that's cost me quite a bit. If we jump back in to our depot, let's get another road depot over here. Let's just build it outside here. Actually, yeah, let's build it a bit along because we're going to have a cargo station there. If we go back into freight, I can remember they can go up to 16 miles per hour. Yes, that can go up to 16, which is quite interesting. So we probably need to go for slightly more expensive roads if we really want to make the most out of this. Which is fine by me. It's not cost me too much more. Then let's see what we can do here. Fortunately, the terrain is incredibly flat here, so there's not too much expense. And let's connect into there for 69,000. So alone that road cost me about 300,000. And now we need to do a really difficult thing here and connect round to here. This is going to cost me a lot of money. I mean, I'm ready to take a loan quite quickly, to be honest. I'm not scared to do that. We cut through the forest here. Yeah, jeez. And then we bring you round like so. Perfect. Right, okay, so with that done, we can get ourselves some depots into here now. So the fuel is coming this way, so it comes into here and then gets made into fuel, which is good. So at least we're not going back on ourselves. Arguably though, that could have helped because we could have used one set of vehicles, but I guess it's just the way the map is set up. So if we go into here and then get some truck stations, let's add a basic one in there, and then let's also do similarly here. Now we can use this to our advantage as sphere of influence. We can move this right round to here. Where are you going to start? There. Now the reason I'm doing this is because the vehicles won't have to travel as far, meaning that it's a shorter distance, meaning we can make more money. So I'm being quite tactical here, I think. So now what we need to do is get some routes set up. We need to work out these 2 individual towns actually. They look relatively small in size, Whitehall being the bigger, so we probably want to start supplying this town first. Another thing I quickly want to do just for bus sake later on is just build a quick, nice and easy road in there. So, tell me, where are the goodies? Interestingly, it's all sort of focused on the one side of town. Now the problem is I really can't bulldoze them. To do that, for example, that cost me too much money. So what I'm going to have to do is, I think we're going to try and build something over at this part of the town. But that covers none of the town. That's crazy. To build something there would be really, really beneficial. But that would cost just way too much. I do want to bulldoze something. I'm looking to bulldoze something, but it's just going to cost me too much money. Right, tell you what, we could also have 2 depots. But, it's still not going to be ideal, is it? Right, let's go ahead and bulldoze. If we try and make this cheap. So that's 300,000 to bulldoze that building. It's a bit more to bulldoze that building. Right, let's just do this here. Build a road out this way. And then if we grab you, rotate you around, and then stick you there like that. That covers a fair amount of the town, which is good. It's what industry needs, so I'm mainly covering industry, which is actually pretty perfect with that coverage right now. We don't know how the town's going to grow, and there's some industry over there unfortunately, but I think that's quite a good position for the time being. So with that said now, it's just time to make some routes. 5-minute frequency is incredibly poor, but we're not losing a lot of money on it as of now. So let's go ahead and connect these up. And let's see what we can do. So this is just going to be, it is cargo, isn't it? So we're just going to call this CA for cargo, and then we're going to, it's fuel, and I suppose it's Whitehall, isn't it? That's really all it is. So fuel, and then Whitehall, which is perfecto. So that is that route created, and then finally all we need to do is create from the crude oil well into the fuel, which we'll just call this cargo again. And then yeah, Grobster crude oil, I mean crude, I can't spell to save myself. I can actually, yep, there we go, wonderful. Crude oil, and then into Grobster, which is perfect. Right, okay, so now we can get some vehicles onto these routes, which is perfect. We're just going to go for the biggest and the best, even though it costs 31,000. Quite a bit of money, but hey ho. So let's buy 3, and that will do the crude. Do we need that many? I don't think we do. Let's sell 1. And let's go for 2 there, and then let's go for 2 into the town. It's going to take a while for demand to start to rise. But that gives us a good starting point anyway. And then to be honest, we can go ahead and connect up this town over here. Grobster itself. Grobster's such a great name. I mean, you can make a restaurant out of that name. Grobster. Or Grubster would be even better actually, but hey ho. Right, can we build anything there? We can get a road through there perfectly, which is awesome. And let's connect you round into there. Happy to do that. Whereabouts in the town is the industry? Genuinely pretty much over to one side, which is good. So I'm going to build this road here. And then what I'm going to do is hope that other natural roads spawn up, because that's what I'm going to really need to rely on. I'm going to... no, that's really not going to work. That covers... I mean, geographically it does cover quite well, but because we've not got a connecting road, so that means I'm probably have to do some more bulldozing, though I'm hoping here... Yeah, we can take 1 building out here, which is fine. All of a sudden I've just about spent half my starting money. I have spent over half my starting money actually, which is not good. So if we connect you into there like that, then that shall do us the trick, and then we can go ahead and very quickly connect. I have mucked up already, which is wonderful, I realise on my assignment there. So anyway, let's very quickly name this CA. You are fuel. And then you are the town of Grobster. Perfect. Right, okay, so that one is done. So what I need to do is... Oh, these vehicles are going so slow, aren't they? Let's reassign you to Whitehall, and then yourself onto Whitehall. No, I'm actually losing it here. Right. Move you onto Whitehall as well. Right, that's good. So that's 2, and we need 2 for our new route as well. Arguably, I'm just going to stick 1 on it for now because it's a much shorter drive than anything else. So if we come into freight, grab yourself. Capacity of 6, which isn't great, but again, I don't think it's going to be that high a demand, and there's really not going to be that large profit margins at this stage either. Okay, so let's go ahead and stick you on, and then let's leave this for the time being and just see how it develops. So I've left things for a few months now, and as we can see, we've already got some demands, which is wonderful to see. Already got 34 oil producing. Production was up in the 70s. Arguably we need to move this much quicker, though our vehicles are going at a snail's pace. Already about to start producing some fuel. We already have produced some fuel to go into Grobster, which is awesome. So that truck, whatever it is, it's actually at the total wrong end of the line right now, but it will return and collect this fuel, which is great. So I'm expecting to see that become profitable very quickly, and we can already see that we've got some profits. What I'm going to do to help move this crude oil is we're going to buy another vehicle and hopefully do it right this time. So if we grab the CanStat DMG and then we assign this to the crude oil routes, then off that goes, and that'll definitely do some helping out. So what I want to do to wrap up this episode is basically just connect these two towns up themselves in a transport sense, because these towns will start to grow a wee bit more now that they're getting some industry, which is good. I don't think it will grow them massively, but it's definitely going to help. So what we're going to do again is we're going to go for some bus stops. I'm not going to bother building bus stations at this stage because I don't really see the need. Actually, that was a bad bus stop placement. I'm thinking the bus is going to come round here, stop halfway along there, maybe have another stop here. I suppose the bus stops are really cheap, so it really doesn't matter. It can then come along, maybe just have you stop there, so not go along this bit, and then I'm expecting another stop there, which is fine, and then all the way up here. Whitehall is very spread out actually, which is quite nice. So we'll have a bus stop on the entrance to the town, have another bus stop over here. I'm not going to go along there, but I'll make a bus stop there. Yeah, that's the best bet. I would create a connecting roads, but I don't think I'm gonna just financially. Then we'll have another bus stop over here, and maybe another one here. So gone for a lot of bus stops, I realise, but right now there is not much traffic on the road, so I think we can really handle it. What I'm gonna do as well to help myself is I'm just gonna clean those two up also. So let's jump back into Line Manager here. I also want to look at boats quickly before we wrap this up and see what we've got available to us. I can't imagine it's a lot, but I at least want to sort of get an insight into what we have available to us, because we might want to start moving people definitely very shortly by boat around the islands, and maybe even some goods as well. So we come in to Queensway, then go round there via Kingsway, Manchester Road, High Street, and the Grove. Awesome, that's perfect. So I'm very quickly going to go ahead and name this line. And there we go. So all we need now is some vehicles. Again, going to go for a similar approach here with the same loaders. So we're going to get 4 of these, which has cost me about 100,000. And then you are good to go there. So a lot of work has gone into this island. I really can't do too much more right now, to be honest. There is nice to see such a high production rate. I'm worried that this will drop if we don't start to clear stuff, but the vehicles are making their way back round again, which is good. Let's jump back over to here and see how things are going on our bus route. Financially, we are not making any money on the route yet, though the frequency has dropped by a minute, which is good. If we have a look at the charts here for passengers, we can see we're up at about 20, which is really nice to see. That bus is leaving town full. That bus is leaving town full. This bus, I guess, is just doing the rounds of the town right now. It's got 1 passenger on it, or it did, and I'm sure it'll fill up again because there's 8 people waiting there. There's a lot of people waiting, wow. Right, I never realised the demand would be this strong, and that's already full. So we've already built up a bit of demand, which is perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and chuck quite a few more buses on to this route here. So we'll add an extra 3 on, so that's near enough doubles the capacity up to 7 buses. So we got 42 seats there, which is good, and I think that'll become profitable very, very quickly. And now the frequency should drop as well. 2 minutes 31 seconds, that's not too bad at all. I would always say the optimal is about maybe 100 seconds, I think, for buses, and we're not too far off that now. 2 minutes 32 is what, 150 seconds, so we're really not far away. So before we wrap this up, let's go ahead and just very quickly plop a dock, or a shipyard it's called, down, and let's see what we've got on offer, if we can face this the right way. So I'm not expecting too much. Obviously ships have been around a lot longer than air aviation, so I do expect them to be a little bit more developed. We do have massive capacity there for passengers, 50, which is way too much. Have we got anything small? See, this worries me. If we don't have anything small, it's going to be really difficult to create demand. We really don't. We got 2 ships, one's 50 and then one's 75, and they cost a lot of money. 216,000 isn't too bad, capacity 50, it just seems really big. But what we'll do, ladies and gentlemen, is we'll explore that a bit more. Got a lot of good capacity for cargo, which is quite nice actually, so looking forward to diving into that into the next episode. But there we have it. That is a wrap on part 1. So I hope you have really enjoyed this. This is totally different to what I've done before, so any feedback will be appreciated. I'll get onto that in a second. But first of all, let's look at the maps. I said we'd bring more maps into the series, and I really want to do this to give you a better idea of what's going on generally. As we can see on this larger map here, we've really not touched a lot of the map. Note that this map is a zoomed out map, so it doesn't show all the smaller islands, but it does really show the scale of what we've got to do, and things will speed up. We're going to do much more different things. I want to try some different things, such as time lapses in different videos, which I might even do in the next part. We have essentially completed one island though. If we look at the smaller map a bit closer in, we can see that we've got all our routes in the correct colours there, which is quite nice. We really need to try and expand this a bit more, and I maybe want to even connect the islands up in the next episodes with some ships, which will be quite exciting. Now on to the best part, I would say now. This is the transition between the old and the new, and this is really, really amazing to just see the progress that we're making. Right now, we've not made a lot of progress, but think about comparing this episode to episode number 10. It's going to be fantastic to look at, and I can't wait to see how the Orkney Islands really evolves over time. Unfortunately, that is all for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave a like, rating and subscribe if you are new around here. Give me some feedback on this, because as I said, it is a first. I want the good, I want the bad. What would you also like to see with this series as well? Any different ideas, any mod ideas for the future, so on and so forth. Let me have them. Also contact me on Twitter and on Discord. I also have my Patreon link all in the description, so go ahead and check those out. And that is all, ladies and gentlemen, so thank you very much for watching. My name is Bigfoot and I'm out.